Hey, we're in entertainment, and we've got a new merger in place in Hollywood, and that is not the Skydance and Paramount, or is it going to be Sony and someone else? No, we're talking about Legendary Pictures acquiring Lionsgate. Yeah, so if you're wondering, Lionsgate being taken over by Legendary, of course, behind Godzilla and movies like that, where we have Lionsgate behind the likes of John Wick and movies on that line. Lionsgate is an interesting company because it's a studio that has big hits, but at the same time has massive bombs, where you're just like, how did you make this thing for so little and still manage to bomb so spectacularly? Now, when it comes to Legendary are a part of huge movies. Now, the interesting thing about the article we're going to look at says they are partially behind things. They're not partially behind things. They own the rights to the majority of these things. They finance it and actually make it. Warner Brothers, who are the studios that these movies are usually with, are distributed by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers aren't actually the ones making the movies. But let's have a look at this article, because this could be massive if this goes true. So it's saying Legendary Pictures, the film studio, again, partially behind Pacific Rim, Dune, and Godzilla's Monsterverse, is reportedly looking at acquiring Lionsgate, which is primarily known for John Wick, The Hunger Games, Saw, and Twilight. Now again, that partially behind Pacific Rim, Dune, and Godzilla's Monsterverse. No, they own the Godzilla rights for the US stuff. They own the Dune rights, as far as I'm aware. Pacific Rim, I think it was a collab, but it's the case of they own this stuff. So this partial, no, they make the Monsterverse movies. Warner Brothers simply distributes it. So it's saying Legendary Pictures has built its reputation by serving mainly as a co-financier and co-producer on major studio films. Again, that's pretty much wrong, but whatever. Especially large-scale tentpole blockbusters. This partnership-driven approach has been the foundation of their business model since the company was founded. Lionsgate recently split from Starz, and now that it's flying solo, the studio is said to be primed for merger and acquisition. Which is interesting. It's like, hey, we've just split from a company, now we're up for sale, even though we wanted to go solo. That's weird. Bloomberg reports that Legendary and Lionsgate may first work together as co-financiers on a few picks before deciding on whether to go through with a merger. On the news of a potential acquisition, Lionsgate shares rose over 20% at the close of business on Friday. Industry experts see the merger as a smart move for both companies. Legendary brings strong financial strategy and production experience, while Lionsgate offers a massive, content-rich library of more than 20,000 titles. Together, they form a potential new powerhouse, one that combines business savvy with creative assets, resulting in a partnership that could potentially reignite the landscape for mid-budget filmmaking. Now, it's interesting that they're saying for mid-budget filmmaking when you think, well, Lionsgate does invest heavily in a lot of the movies they make, and Legendary invest very heavily in the movies they're making, like Dune and any of the Godzilla and Kong movies. They're not cheap movies that they're making, so this idea of mid-budget movies landscape makes no real sense. So it's saying, interestingly, Lionsgate has historically been on the acquisition side of deals like this. Over the past few decades, it has absorbed several other companies, including Trademark Pictures in 2000, Artisan Entertainment in 2003, and most recently E1 in 2023. This new deal marks a significant shift in its role within the industry. Now, the thing with Lionsgate is the last bunch of movies they've put out have been big failures. Especially the likes of Borderlands, which just absolutely crashed and burned at the box office and lost that studio so much money. And then they put out another movie. Can't remember which one it was though. Was the last Hellboy movie a Lionsgate movie? It possibly was. And if that was another absolute colossal disaster. So you're getting these movies where it's like, oh my, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. So it makes sense that they would be up for acquisition, as they're saying. Going with Legendary, that's an incredible idea. Now, it doesn't mean we're all of a sudden going to get some crazy crossover of Godzilla and Kong versus John Wick. Although, that would be weird and interesting. Imagine seeing John Wick riding on the back of Godzilla into a fight. That would be insane. But it doesn't mean that. What it does mean is the likes of John Wick could get a better marketing strategy behind it, more financing into it, and a better strategy how to actually work the movies into being bigger financial successes. Not that John Wick really needs that, but it could benefit even better from something like that. So we'll have to wait and actually see what comes of this. But it does show the changing landscape. The fact that we're looking at Skydance about to merge with Paramount and take it over. Of course, Hulu and Lucasfilm and Marvel were all absorbed into Disney, which was to its destruction, basically. We constantly hear of other studios maybe merging, the likes of Sony and Warner Brothers. Either way, it's insane to think that these type of studios are at the stage that they have to even do this. And it shows you the real landscape, how it's changed, what they've done. And it's all self-inflicted. Keep that in mind. All of this is self-inflicted, with them going so hard and heavy on shifting the focus from going to the cinema to, hey, no, stay at home and order our streaming service to watch this stuff, to now having to go back the opposite way and go, no, actually go back and watch it in the cinema. It's killing the industry. It's all self-inflicted again with their strikes and all this stuff. AI, the reliance on that and stuff. It's not great. So it makes sense that companies like this would merge. And what could we get? Could we get Legendary all of a sudden investing heavily in some new Twilight? Probably not that, but John Wick and maybe spin-offs for that, they could very well invest heavily in getting that up and running again. We'll wait and see. Nothing's confirmed yet, but it looks like this is on the card. So again, let's see what happens with it. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff, you know the drill. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.